Hey guys, this is Vet. Some of you have asked me to make you a sort of tutorial on how to make banners. I can't guarantee that it'll actually help you, but it may give you a nice start. I'll be using Photoshop Elements 9. Okay, now people send me requests all the time. This will be for felisfire. You can use it on any gaming system though. And what I would do first is I select the file, or I open the files I'm going to end up saving that I'll use in the banner. So I'm going to open both of these. Let's see. I'm going to check the size that the banner should be, and I'll go to New, Blank File, put in the size, and I always want the resolution to be at 300 and the background to be at transparent. It's a personal preference. You can do white, black, whatever. I do transparent. Okay, now I'm going to save, right click, open a new folder, make a new folder. I name the folder whatever they want the name on the banner to be. It just makes things easier. I also make the names of the files that I save short and sweet. Makes them easier to find later. Okay, now I'm going to look for the font. Usually they provide a URL, but if they don't, just highlight it, right click, search Google. Google is your friend. Before you download, always make sure that you have permission to use it, that they have a creative license or something, or ask permission at some point. I'm not going to be making any money off of this, but you always want to be careful. There's always that chance you can get in trouble. Okay, I saved it. Now you double click on that, press install, and it should be installed into Photoshop Elements now. Okay, next I just want to make sure that I have they want. I'm going to add the feli. Okay, I highlight both of them, add them. And on Photoshop Elements 9, you have to use this little organizer thing, but if you drag them over to the boxes, you can easily get everything together. This organizer thing is only on Photoshop Elements. Okay, I highlight both of those, and when you're transforming, Control-T. I have both the layers selected because I want them to be the same size. I want consistency, and I prefer to have just the main part of the feli showing. I think it looks tacky to have the whole animal showing, but that's just me. And to do that, what I just did there, I went up to Image, Rotate, and then I flipped the layer horizontally, so now they can be both on the opposite sides of the thing. Now I'm going to add text. I'm going to make sure to see what they want on it. Okay, find the font, just to make sure. Sometimes the fonts can be called weird things, so just be careful with that. Okay, now I first tried putting it all on one line, and then I realized it wasn't going to work. So I'm making each individual word on a separate layer. You can do this, you don't have to. It's just all about design and eye appeal and what you think looks nice. Now I'm just going to move these around and putting all the words on there just to see how it looks. And I've decided I don't like that, and so I'm going to make the letters bigger because it makes it look more eye appealing, at least to me. So I'm going to move these around till they get the right size that I want them to. I'll move these over to the side a bit. It's just what looks pretty. That's all banner making is, what looks pretty and that sort of thing. Now when I put the A on here, this is also a design opinion sort of thing. I'm going to make it smaller. Just, I think it looks nicer that way. And having the A larger would make it look a bit tacky in my opinion. That's just me though. Okay, now that I have all the words there, and you can situate them however you want, whatever looks nice to you. I'm going to look at the background that they want. I use DeviantArt for all my Photoshop brushes, or most of them. You can use whatever website you want. Just make sure that you're allowed to use those brushes. You don't want to use something that, I mean, if it's out there and you can download it, you can use it, but it's for personal use. Don't try to sell it. Don't try to do any of that. And always, always, always check the terms of service. You never want to take something and claim that it's yours and it not be. That's just, it's wrong. Just don't do it. Like for instance on this one, it says free to use in your works of any type, anywhere. Just don't redistribute them. That means you can use them for pretty much anything. Just don't redistribute the brushes themselves. Never do that. Always check the terms of use. Now I'm going to do the background. They wanted dark. And that was some hex codes you can change. I'll show you. You can always pick, if you can't figure out what color you want exactly, go to computerhope.com /HTM color, and they have a ton of different colors you can look for. You'll find the right hex code at some point. You just have to. Okay, now I'm going to go and try and add the stars because they wanted dark and starry. I'm going to go look through my brushes. And you always want things to be on a different layer. That's your layer button down there. You always want things to be on separate layers. No matter what you do, if you do multiple brushes, anything, make sure it's on a separate layer. Because you never know when you might do something on one layer and you do something else on the same layer and then you don't like that something else that you did, and maybe you've done a whole bunch of other things past that and now you can't undo it. What do? You have to redo the whole thing. It's time consuming and a waste of time. Okay, so there I've added my stars. I'm making it dark and starry. Now I'm going to add a personal touch of mine. It's my decision, wasn't theirs. Oh, and to move things, you can click on the layer and then you just drag it up or down. I'm going to add a star on the eye, the wish portion of the name. It's just a personal preference. I want to do it. Customer didn't ask for it. It's just whatever I think looks pretty. That's all banner making is. Okay, now I'm going to see what else I need to add. I see that they wanted their user ID on there and I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to copy and highlight. Put it on there. And like I said, grab the layer and move it because I want it to be on top because I want it to be seen. Now with a user ID, you don't want it to be large, but you don't want it to be so small you can't see it. You want it to be just large enough that it can be seen, but not large enough to take over the whole banner. Okay, now I always bevel and emboss words. Every banner I do, I just do it. You don't have to. If you don't like it, don't do it. And then you can make different sort of things. Like I like to put glows on things. You don't have to do that either. It's just a personal preference, and you can do different effects, drop shadow, stroke, that sort of thing. It's all up to you. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, don't. And then you right click, press copy layer style, and then you can go through and right click on all the other layers that you want that style to be on, and you don't have to worry about doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. It makes it just easier. Now you see on the user ID, didn't look that nice. So I'll have to play around with it a little bit and try to make it a little more to where you can see it. That's not working. I'm going to go ahead and make it bold. It'll just make it easier. You know, I can't really see it there, but on the actual banner, it looks great. Otherwise, I would have done it. Now, to select layers as a group, you would click on the highest most layer, press Shift, click on the lowest most layer, and then you can move things as a group. You can do edits to things as a group. It just makes it easier. Now, for this, I was going to put stars on, like, as an overlay. And so I added a new layer. I right-clicked, I control-clicked on the T for the text, and you go through there, and it outlines the word. And then you can go and put whatever you want on it, whether it be a gradient or a stamp of some sort. It's a personal preference, and I wanted to see what stars look like. I ended up not using this, but it's an example of what you could do. You can just put brushes over it if you want to add different textures to the words, that sort of thing. Add gradients. It's all up to you, really. And I'm going through and I'm messing around, seeing, trying to make things look nice. I ended up not liking it, so I ended up taking it off. But because it's on another layer, I can do that. I didn't mess up my one layer. It's on a new layer. I can do that. Okay, now this, it just tries to make the feeli brighter. You can do it. It's a personal preference of mine. I like to make the feeler really bright. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's all up to you. Okay, now I'm going to see if I missed anything. I decided that I don't like the color of this background. It's a little too bright for me, so I'm going to make it a little darker, more of a dark and starry night sort of thing. And that I just pressed Alt and Delete, and it colors the whole background. If you're on that layer, make sure you're on that layer. Now to save it, go to File, Save As. I always save 2 copies because you never know when you edit one and you'll have the old one if you want to go back to it. It's just there. And when you're making things for people, and I use Picasa for this, I always add a vignette. It's the black around the edges. Always do. It's personal preference. And then on Picasa, they have a tuning feature. You can add. I always add shadows because I like to make it darker. You can add highlights and that sort of thing. And then when you're adding your signature, you want the signature to be seen, but you want it to be small enough that it doesn't take away from the actual banner. You don't want. You made it, yes, but you don't want everyone to think that it's about you. It's because it's not. So make it small, make it noticeable, and save that one. And that one's your JPEG. So you can't edit that. Well, you can't technically edit that one in Photoshop with all the different layers. Now I use DeviantArt to upload them. And when you do this, you always want to put a disclaimer. I do not own the cat-like creatures. They belong entirely to felisfire.com, or if you're on Lion or any of those sorts of sites, you want to make sure that people know it isn't yours. Now I'm going to go to my profile on felisfire. And I'm going to add, you can get the coding from the referral section. They have the codes there. That's what I use. You right click, press copy image URL, and you put that in there at the ending part after the image part. And then I always make sure to try and look to see if they have a thread for that, whatever topic they're sending. If they don't, then I just use my profile URL there. That way when people click on it, brings back to my page, then I make banners. Okay, I save that, and now you can see it's down there. It's done. It's simple. And there's another one that I did earlier. And you can see that one was a lot more intricate, a lot more to do, but they're basically the same thing. Whereas the bottom one took less than 30 minutes, top one took nearly an hour and a half. It all depends on what you want to do and how much time you want to spend doing it. Okay, now I'm going to mention to the customer that I've finished their banners in the bottom of my profile. They can add, change, or I ask them if they want me to add, change, fix, or remove anything, always. Just because it's for them. They make the choices, not me. So if they didn't like a choice I made, I will change it, even if I think they're completely wrong. It just happens. Now you can see I get a ton of requests, and I'm always really busy. I really hope that this video helped you. If it didn't, I'm sorry. I'll try to make a better one at some point, but this is that. This is my tutorial on how to make a simple banner. I hope it helped you a little bit. If it didn't, send me a message. I'll try to help you any way I can. Good luck!